What do you get when a woman of God catches her religious daughter in the act with a young man she thought she could trust? My goofy, dumb self running down the streets of North Philly being chased home by a deacon. Trash to Peace Theater, the deacon's daughter disaster. Alright, so boom. When I was a young boy, I used to talk to this John who went to a private boarding school. We used to talk on the phone during the week, then on Fridays we used to link up after school. When we first started talking, she let me know that her mama was a deacon and she was super overprotective. I joked that I had heard about y'all church girls. She neither confirmed nor denied the allegations. Most Fridays, I would meet her outside her school and we'd ride the bus together to her house to hang out. She was initially worried because she and her mom were bona fide saved Christians, and I was a peak level lost heathen, but I was confident in my Libra charm and my father's inherited swag. The first time I met the deacon, she gave me the crazy ice grill. She was tall, about 6 foot, and when I stood up to shake her hand, I don't think she liked that I had her by 7 inches still. She spoke to me reluctantly, but then I mentioned that we ordered extra food since we knew she would be hungry when she got in from work and probably not in the mood to cook. That actually made her smile. Food is always the great disarmer. She grabbed some pizza and some wings, and then she asked me a few questions about myself. After a bit of talking, she said I appeared to be a respectable young man and was welcome to be in her house when she wasn't there as long as we both respected it.
Well, I don't know about all that.
At first, all we did was chill.
But it didn't last long.
Then after a while, we started having sexy time.
Well, who didn't see that coming?
Since the window was so tight in between when we got to her house and when her mama got home from work, it would be mad quickies in her room or wild coitus in the kitchen. And that became my Friday nights for a while. It was the only time I got to see her since she was in school during the week. Her mama kept her busy on Saturdays and she was in church all day every Sunday. But it was cool. Pizza and coital quickies.
I'll take what I can get.
Fast forward some time, and I'm at a cookout one Sunday afternoon at my dad's girlfriend's mom's house. I didn't want to be there, but Paridi was on my case about spending too much time in the streets and not enough with the family. So I decided that day was going to be family day all day. I got a beep from the deacon's daughter. And at first I ignored that joint because I promised Paridi I would chill. And then she paged me with the 911 and 69 code. For those who were too young to have a beeper, 911 obviously meant emergency. But 69 meant whoever paged you was trying to have some sexy time explosions with you immediately. The boy book of Bootyronomy compels one to return any call that has the 69 code attached to it. So it's not like I even had a choice. I hard ass to a phone to call the deacon's daughter. She answered after the first ring and told me she needed me to come over. Said she faked being sick to leave church early and desperately needed to see me. I told her I was at a family function and couldn't get away. She then told me she was wearing nothing but my jersey.
Oh, word?
So I said I was on my way.
You're all so basic.
I called my pop into the living room and told him I was about to be out. I asked him if he could give me a ride since it was a Sunday and the buses were going to be slow. He put the crazy guilt trip on me about not hanging out with my family and selling them out for a booty call. I told him she was home alone and wearing nothing but my jersey. Also showed him my beeper with the 69 code and the 911. He looked at it, then looked at me and was like, hold on, let me get my hat.
Hey, man's gotta have a code.
Right?
He drove me over, lectured me about spending more time with the family, and made sure I had condoms before I got out.
That's my boy.
I knocked on the door, she opened, and she wasn't lying. Nothing but my jersey on. She jumped in my arms and pushed me on the couch where we went right at it. No going to her room, no kitchen coitus, just straight at it. The next thing you know, she put her thing down, flipped it and reversed it cowgirl style. And all I could think about was how the church girl stereotype was definitely true.
This is the life.
Then all of a sudden she turned to look over her right shoulder. So I turned and looked too, to see the deacon standing there, mouth agape, watching her daughter ride a heathen. We didn't hear the key in the lock, the knob turn, or the door open. She caught us in the act, peeing all in the woonie. The deacon's daughter panicked and ran to her room, and the deacon ran after her. And of course, I did what any well-mannered, charismatic, respectable young man would have done. I got the fuck out of there. I haul ass down the street running while buckling my belt, trying to zip the zipper and take the still-on condom off. I run and run and run to the bus stop. I got there, tried to catch my breath, and realized the deacon's daughter had paged me a couple times. As soon as I thought I could relax, the deacon pulled up in her car across the street from me. Didn't get out. Didn't say a word, just stared at me. I probably should have just walked over to her and had a conversation, but I stood there like a shivering bitch until the bus pulled up. I got on, anxious but relieved, Deacon's daughter just blowing up my pager, but I definitely wasn't gonna get off to call her ass back. I got to 20th Street to transfer buses to the 33. As soon as I thought I could breathe, the Deacon pulled up in her car. She followed the bus and now it was clear she was trying to follow me home. Thankfully, the God of all fuckboys, fuck niggamus, doth shine down upon me. The 33 bus came pretty fast. I got on that, John, and I knew I needed to formulate a plan. I couldn't just get off and walk to my house since she was following me. Chances are, Paridi was gonna be at the cookout still, but my grandmother was definitely gonna be home. I got off on Lehigh a few stops before mine, and she was right behind the bus. I started fast walking down little blocks against traffic, knowing she couldn't follow me. But every time I got to the end of the block, she was right there. Even when I doubled back, she still managed to find me. Not that it's difficult to follow a 6'7". Eventually, I gave up and walked home. I hit the door, greeted my grandma who was sitting in her chair watching TV, then walked into the dining room. As soon as I got in the next room, there was a knock at the door. My grandma yelled for me to answer it, but I pretended like I didn't hear it while my punk ass was hiding. As the knocks kept coming, she got up and walked to the door. The Deacon stood there, introduced herself, told her she was my girlfriend's mother, said she hated to do this but thought it necessary to let her know that she caught us having sex in her living room. My grandmother stood there quietly. The Deacon stood there quietly. My 4'9" grandmother looked at this 6-foot woman and said, "Not my grandson," and slammed the door in her face. I started celebrating like I won the Super Bowl, like I just scored the winning goal in the World Cup. My grandmother walked back to her chair and sat down like nothing happened. I walked back in the room like I didn't know what had just happened. She didn't mention it to me and there was no way I was gonna bring it up. After a few minutes, my punk ass peeked out the window to make sure the coast was clear, then walked back to the cookout and let Paridi know that me and the Deacon's daughter got caught having sex on the sanctified couch. He and his girlfriend at the time laughed about it. I conveniently left out the part about the Deacon following me home though. The Deacon's daughter and I never hung out again. We talked on the phone every once in a while and emailed back and forth in college to check in, but that was it. She ended up getting pregnant her sophomore year in college by an alpha. And even though the baby wasn't mine, the Deacon blamed it on me. He said I sent her daughter down a path of promiscuity. It's cool. I took that on the chin. But rather she stay mad at me than have a messed up relationship with her daughter. She was clearly in denial. As was my grandma, who never told my dad. She took that encounter with the Deacon to the grave. I would like to take the time to tell the Deacon, I'm sorry. We were out of pocket. We violated your trust and disrespected your house. But you kinda did the same by coming to my door to snitch, and that's why you got the door slammed on your nose. Sucks to suck. Thank you for watching Trash to Piece Theater. I hope you got a few laughs from this joint. And if so, please help me out by hitting that subscribe button and dropping a like. It helps way more than you know. If you want to support the channel further, you can join the Patreon, become a member of the channel and receive bonus episodes, leave a super thanks, or just drop $1 or $10 in the Cash App. I'm grateful for any and all of the above.